One of the pivotal moments in my early 20s was actually choosing to reinvent myself. Now, it sounds a bit weird when you say things like that, to reinvent yourself or redefine who you are. The moment that I sort of decided to do this was actually when I was working at a mechanics garage in my early 20s. I was working 12-hour days, working pretty much 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. every evening. And I just had enough of doing that. And I came across some personal development books and some personal development courses. And they kind of went on about sort of how we sort of shape our identity and how we sort of see ourselves as sort of how we view the world around us. And the biggest shift for me was when I learned about actually defining who my character is. The person that I'm portraying every single day to myself is where happiness stems from. See, if we're trying to be someone that we're not, and we're feeling like we're just doing work to pay for the bills, or we're just doing X to get Y, we end up getting trapped in really a state of unhappiness, a state of unfulfillment, because we're portraying a character that we don't want to be. And in my early 20s, about sort of 10 years ago now, it's where I got the real insight to myself that actually for me to move away from the person that I've been up to this point, and actually what I wanted in life was more success. I wanted, to work hard, but put it into a business that I could take forward and make my own. But also I just had a higher level of thinking compared to the people around me. And for me to get to where I wanted to be, it was going to take some reinvention. It was going to take for me to redefine the way that I thought and felt about myself. And when you realize that that actually stems from the identity that you're portraying to the world, you are the character in your own film. When you get that and you start thinking, well, actually, how am I going to write the next scene, or how am I going to write the next chapter? How do I rewrite today to make it so that I'm pointing myself in the right direction towards where I want to be? You really start to make big change in your life. When you take conscious action towards something that you are choosing to be, your energy levels go up, you compound the belief in towards where you're wanting to be, you seek out information that's going to help you get closer to that thought and feeling. You think about it, if you've ever gone and tried to, let's say, research a topic that you really love, or go and search for something that you would like to be a part of. Maybe it's a job, maybe it's a career, maybe it's a degree or a college, university course, whatever it could be. You're actually going out and seeking that information. You are looking and you're being very directive with your attention on where you're putting your time to get that knowledge, to get to where you want to be. So for me, the biggest sort of change in my life was just knowing that I was actually writing the character in my own film in that moment. And for me to get to where I wanted to be, I was going to have to change that story. I was going to have to change the way I thought and felt about my life. We've got a plane going over at the moment. But I had to think about it differently. I had to really, start thinking about the person that I wanted to become rather than the person that I had been, if that makes sense. As soon as I started doing this, I started thinking bigger about myself. I started thinking that more sort of financial abundance was possible, and I never really felt that as I was strapped to a salary before. I was very fixated on that salary. I only believed that was possible at the time. As soon as I started thinking bigger about this stuff, as soon as I started thinking that, more was possible, more abundant thinking, although motivationals didn't cut it all the time, it did get me thinking on a better level of, okay, well, what is possible? Getting myself around other people who are in, a higher position so that I could elevate my mindset, elevate my thinking. Because, the old adage is that you are the person that you spend the most time around. If you spend a lot of time around yourself, then you're probably going to be, the same person in 10 years' time as you are today. And there's nothing wrong with that, as long as you're happy being in that position. But I think most people, you look at, I think the stat recently is 85% of people are unhappy with the work that they do. Now that's a pretty big showing that we've got a bit of a problem in this world at the moment, which is we're not doing meaningful work. We're not doing things that enlighten us and give us energy around what we do. And if we can just make that change, if we can just start to think differently about who we are in the world, who we want to be, start defining that as bespokely as possible to ourselves, we're going to start working our way towards that direction in where we want to be, rather than, the person that we have been up to this point. So I'd really say that to you. If you can, start thinking about the person that you want to portray in your life. Think of yourself as the lead character in your own film that you're directing, you're writing every single day. And then you're going to start to write the story that you actually want to see in your life, rather than the story that's been, what's got you to here isn't going to get you to where you want to be. So I hope this has been insightful, and I'm looking forward to sharing a few more insights over the next few weeks to a few months. And looking forward to the sun coming back out in northern France. So au revoir, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.